Hi and welcome to another episode, and what we've got here is a Zipstick joystick from back in the day. You can see from this episode that I fixed a Atari 2600 joystick by cannibalizing a few other ones, and that's from a big purchase that I got of many different joysticks. Most of them actually turned out they worked, some just needed a little bit of a solder and a bit of a wire, but this one and another one, a different make, but it's the same idea. Basically the up and the down do not work, and that's because the microswitches that are in here don't work anymore. The fire buttons work, as the players that will know is that these two fire buttons are actually the same fire button. It's just there's two different microswitches, and then the joystick has got up, down, left, right for its microswitches, 4 different ones. So what we need to do is open it up and have a look. So I'll get the screwdriver out, and there's pretty much, you can see all where the silver spots are, that's all the screws. So magically all the screws are out now. Let's take the lid off the top part, being careful because I don't really know what the design is in here, I've never been in before. Well, there we go, there's 2 microswitches on the bottom for the fire buttons, but they work, so we'll leave them as they are. It's these white ones we need to play around with, and as you can see there is actually no soldering to be done. It's all done with these, what are they called? Not horseshoes, I've forgotten what they're called now. Someone in the comments tell me what they are, these particular types of connectors. But basically they slide on and off. By that I mean you probably do want a pair of pliers. And what we want to do is replace the top one and the bottom, because if you look how it works, I'm actually pulling back on the joystick, so that's the front of the joystick. I'm pulling back, and what happens is it actually presses the one at the front, but that's wired up to give the signal that's going down, and the reverse of that. So as I push forward, it's actually pressing the one at the bottom and the one at the back, which actually means it's going forward. And of course the same happens for left and right. It's a little bit the other way around, but it makes sense. It's very easy to figure out. But it's that one and that one we definitely want to try changing, but we might as well change the other 2 as well while we're here, so that the mechanisms of the ones that we're changing are exactly the same. And as I say, the fire buttons are working fine, so it's not broken, don't fix it. So what we're bringing in is SPDT, which means single pole double, what is it now? Double throw, that's it, sorry. As I've said plenty of times before, I'm no electrician or stuff, I don't build circuits. I understand the concepts a little bit, but not necessarily know everything off the top of my head. And as I say, we need to fix the front and the back one, but also the left and right, because we want to make sure everything is all the same. So it's just really more screws and then hooking them up to the right parts. Now I do want to say, I believe the correct way of doing this. You might want to wait until the very end of the video so I can confirm that it's the bottom one that we want to do, because I'm looking at how these are wired up. So the bottom one, which is basically where the electricity is going in, and then we have to decide which throw is actually going to be the one that we want. Now from what I understand how these work is that the button is like a spring inside and a little metal bit that flaps in between these 2 bits which are going in further inside. And as you press, you're pressing down on the spring and it flicks to the other one. So by default it's always touching this top one, and what I want of course is that we press the switch, it's going to the bottom one, because we don't want it activated all of the time, because otherwise electricity is going through the whole time it would be. I believe that's how it works. If I'm wrong, we'll find out at the end. And I realise it should have been possible to buy single pole single throw, which would have meant that like this top one was missing and it would just only ever work that way. But these were cheaper than buying the single throw ones than it was to buy the dual ones, so that's why I've got these. But if it turns out I hooked up to the wrong one, I can always take them back out and put them to the other one, but there's plenty of space for all this extra little bit of metal sticking out, and worst case scenario I could always get some snips in and cut them off completely, but why chop them off if there's no real need? So again, I'm going to take one out, put on the correct particular little plugs, we'll call them, in the correct places, and then put that one back in and go on to the next one, so I'm not messing up the wiring, because as you can see there's lots of different colours going to different places, and instead of having to write a diagram down I can just go for it. So anyway, let's go for it. So being firm but as gentle as possible, we'll pull these off. I don't want to pull the wires off, of course, we just want to pull the connections off. So I'm doing that by holding up to just the very end of the plug, but not on the wire, because obviously I don't want to rip the wire apart. So that's one out. That went on the bottom there. And as I say, I'm going to put it on the top one. Sorry, on the bottom one of there, and that one there. And I'm going to use my pliers again and squeeze, so that they don't slide off so easily. Again, I bet there's some proper tool to do this, but pliers should be enough. Seems to be working. There we go. Line that back up again. So there's a little post. Line it up there, line the screw back up, and basically rinse and repeat until all of them are done. So when all 4 are done, we'll have a come back, and before putting it all back in, I'll test it on the computer and make sure I have actually done the wires the right way around. Okay, you can see that I've changed 3. I need to get to this one, but this is in the way, and so all it is that it's resting in between some pegs, so just carefully lift it up and it'll pop out of the way, and just carry on as normal, changing them around. And okay, if you have the misfortune of snapping one off like I have, you can always buy yourself some replacements, and I believe these are called, what are they called? Spade ones? I think these are the spade ones. Maybe they're not. But if someone knows what these are actually called, I think they're the spade ones. Nice to learn something new, but anyway, basically, where is the wire that I've gone and messed up? It's this one. The end snapped off when I was doing it, so I'm just going to put that on there, make a connection, and then I'm going to crimp it in place with this. Now that's done, just messing around and putting it back in. So really, it's just making sure that everything lines up. Obviously making sure that the microswitch is actually facing upwards. Is it the other way around maybe? Put that one there. And that one that side. Tucking the wires out of the way so they're not catching on anything. Line it all up. Obviously getting the cable lined up, that'd be easy, wouldn't it? There we go. Closed. I'll put a couple of the screws in. Let's get these out of the way. Just put a couple in just to make sure that the case is holding together, but at the same time, if I need to change something, it's easy enough to open. So I'll do this and have a quick test, and I'll get back to you. Well, after a quick test, everything's fine. Moving it around, that's what it sounds like now, so you can skip back to the beginning and hear how it used to click, but that's how it clicks now. The fire buttons still work perfectly fine. So what can I say? Get yourself some new microswitches, maybe the SPDT ones, it's up to you. But these I picked up for £7.99 off of Amazon. It may well be that you get them for a bit cheaper, a bit more expensive. But anyway, it was a pack of 12 for £7.99 for me. But I think they've gone out of stock now at that price, and now it's $7.99 for a pack of 10. The point is though, in general the 5 buttons tend to work and the joystick doesn't. That's what I found, because obviously I think they get pressed a fair bit more. But anyway, the point is that I hope that was of some information to you. Have a look in the description down below, check out the Patreon, check out the Discord, have a look at the subscribe and the notification bell, because it'd be great if you did that, because it'd be really nice to hit that 1,000, and then hit that like or dislike, it's up to you. But as always, happy gaming.